Hi everyone, this is your girl Texas Black Diamond. Thank you for tuning in to Texas Black Diamond Entertainment. Please like, share, and subscribe. I wanted to continue to speak on Nathaniel Woods. We discussed this on my last two lives, and I told you guys once I get some more information in, I will bring it to you guys. And so, as I was saying here, Woods, he was executed Thursday at 9:01 p.m. And actually, Woods was just basically, can you say, an innocent bystander? I will say in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, in the wrong place at the wrong time. Um, and I will let you see and hear some things that I have, some clips in the article, and then I'll come back with the rest of my commentary.
Allah, a Birmingham man was executed Thursday evening on a 2005 conviction of being an accomplice to the murder of three police officers. Nathaniel Woods, 43, was pronounced dead at 9:01 p.m. Central Time after an execution that lasted 15 minutes. He had no final words. Woods was put to death amid a storm of appeals and protests from supporters who noted that Woods did not actually kill officers Charles Bennett, Carlos Curley Owen and Harley Chisholm III on June 17, 2004, that Woods' attorneys missed key deadlines in his appeals, and that the trigger man, also on death row, said Woods was not involved. Woods visited with his family members Thursday afternoon, including his daughter and granddaughter. His sister Pamela said after they were seeking time to submit evidence to the courts on Woods' behalf. "We want justice for the officers," she said. "We want justice for my brother. It can't be one-sided or for one group of people. You have to have justice for everyone. We want justice for Nathaniel." Family members of the officers who attended the execution said Woods was as guilty as the man who pulled the trigger. "Our loved ones took their last breath while upholding the law to make Birmingham a safer place," said Rhonda Hamd, the sister of Harley Chisholm, after the execution. "Our families will not have closure until Carrie Spencer's execution date. May God have mercy on their souls. Until then, may our loved ones rest in peace." 8:39. Woods had no final words before the execution began at 8:39 p.m. Central Time. He kept his head and shoulders elevated on the gurney he was strapped to for the first several minutes of the execution, looking at one of the galleries and occasionally moving his lips. He held his right finger out throughout the execution. Woods showed labored breathing at 8:45 p.m., and his left arms jerked against its restraint. He did not respond to a consciousness test administered a minute later. Officers Bennett, Owen, and Chisholm were shot and killed in a drug house on Birmingham's west side on June 17, 2004. The shooter, Carrie Spencer, is on death row. An execution date for Spencer has not been set. In a statement Thursday night, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey, who denied appeals for clemency, accused Woods of luring the police officers into the house, and said two other individuals had been executed in Alabama since 1983 for being an accomplice to capital murder. After thorough and careful consideration of the facts surrounding the case, the initial jury's decision, the many legal challenges and reviews, I concluded that the state of Alabama should carry out Mr. Woods' lawfully imposed sentence this evening, the statement said. Though Woods has acknowledged he and Spencer sold drugs, he is not accused of actually killing the officers and by all accounts did not have a gun at the time of the shooting. But at his 2005 trial, prosecutors argued that Woods had conspired with the Spencer. Alabama law makes a person legally accountable for the behavior of another person if he or she procures, induces, or causes such other person to commit the offense. Prosecutors did not provide evidence that Woods held or fired a gun during the incident. A jury convicted Woods and voted 10-2 to sentence him to death. Spencer told the appeal last month that Woods was not involved and that there was no plan to kill the police. Woods' family and hundreds of thousands of people appealed to the governor to extend clemency to Woods. A Change.org petition seeking to stop the execution gathered more than 100,000 signatures as of Thursday evening. Several prominent figures called for the execution to be put off. Martin Luther King III wrote to Ivy earlier this week urging her to grant clemency. "Killing this African-American man, whose case appears to have been strongly mishandled by the courts, could produce an irreversible injustice," King wrote. "Are you willing to allow a potentially innocent man to be executed?" Senator Doug Jones, Diola, said in a statement Thursday he called Ivy's office to express concerns about the case. "Given the questions and mitigating issues involved in this case, and the finality of a death sentence, a delay is warranted to provide time for a thorough review of all the facts and circumstances to truly ensure that justice is done," the statement said. Kim Kardashian West sent a tweet urging Ivy to commute Woods' sentence, and later shared a number for Ivy's office. The rapper and actor T.I. also called on followers to contact Ivy. The family of former Alabama and Green Bay Packers quarterback Bart Starr also called for clemency. Woods' family delivered letters to Ivy on Wednesday in protest of the execution. The debate over Woods extended to the floor of the Alabama House of Representatives on Thursday morning. Democratic State Representative Thomas Jackson told the body that, the evidence shows, Woods is an innocent man. What we are facing right now is a travesty what happened, he said. Those families lost their families, their husbands, their fathers, their brothers. But the man who's been in prison all these years didn't do anything to cause him to be on death row. GOP Representative Alan Treadaway, R. Birmingham, a veteran of the Birmingham Police Department who knew the officers who were killed that day, said he lost 3 buddies that day. My thoughts today go to that family, he said. To his wife that called me crying, who called and said, Alan, do you think I'll live long enough to see justice served? Democratic Representative John Rogers, D. Birmingham, said he did not have a problem with capital punishment for those who pulled the trigger. But he said Woods did not fit that bill. He did not kill one officer, he said. He was a drug addict in the wrong place at the wrong time.
So apparently, Woods was addicted to drugs inside of a drug house, and so he was in the middle of this drug bust, and apparently they added him as part of the situation, killing 3 officers and wounding 1. And so the actual person that pulled the trigger, Kerry Spencer, is on death row as well. Kerry Spencer has spoken out on many times, letting them know that Woods was not involved in this, but actually the situation is and was that Woods was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I guess looking for drugs. So he was in this drug house, and a drug bust happened, and so Kerry Spencer pulls the trigger, killing 3 officers. So because Woods was also in there, they're placing it in his lap as well. So they're holding him responsible as well. So in Alabama, they say that there's a law where you are held responsible for other people's action when you're around them. And I don't understand that either. That's why I say it's very important to vote. So you have people like Kim Kardashian, I think it's Bark Star, T.I. You have Martin the third spoke out to speak to this mean ass damn governor in Ivor. She didn't budge, and she didn't give a shit. She didn't even try to pause it. She was like, I see cause to go ahead and have him executed. And so you have the Democrats. You have John Rogers to speak out. You have Jones. He's a Democratic senator for Alabama. And so I always say this is called the dirty South. You have Island Treadaway. He is GOP for the Republicans, and he's in his feelings. So I'm in my feelings, and I feel like he needs to be executed because I am friends with these officers. So he's not looking at the law. He's not looking at justice. He's not looking at the facts. He's just looking at his friend's wife calling him crying and things like that. The sister has something to say as well. But this is also a situation that I just see is unheard of. Well, I'm not gonna say unheard of. It's like we're seeing it every day, and if we don't speak out, it's crazy that we will sit here and not say, not put out information like we need to. Because when I spoke on it to the viewers last night, and I spoke on it on another live, they didn't know anything about it, and I told them, I said, let me get this stuff information put out there. But this Kate Iris, the governor, she didn't give a flip. You have so many multiple politicians speaking out on this and reaching out to her. Okay, let's give this a look. This man is innocent. We see it. Here's the facts. And she didn't give a shit. So you have this mean ass white governor, old white woman, just didn't give a flip. I'm not going to look at anything, even from different politicians. You have people signing petitions, over 100,000 people signing this petition. Okay, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and see what his Wood's sister had to say, and then I'll let you see this news clip, and then I'll come back and finish with the rest of my commentary.
Many people, when you say you want justice, we want justice for the officers. We want justice for my brother. It can't be one-sided or for one group of people. You have to want justice for everyone. We want justice for Nathaniel. He's been sitting in prison for 16 years of his life for something he did not do. Why would you want to let this man sit in prison on death row for 16 years and now execute him for something that the actual killer has continuously said that he did on his own over and over again, but yet you still want to execute Nathaniel Woods? What is wrong with taking the time to review this case? There's so many things wrong with it. It is not going to hurt to grant a reprieve or clemency, to have the facts put out there. All we're asking is that we get the truth out there. All we're asking is for more time to review the documents. What's the rush? What's the hurry? He's in the prison already. So take the time to look over this information before taking an innocent life.
Surrounding the execution of Nathaniel Woods. Woods was convicted in the shooting death of 3 police officers and injuring a 4th back in 2004 while they were executing a warrant. But Woods never actually shot at the officers. It was a man named Kerry Spencer who was with him when police arrived. That's what he said. Spencer even confessed to being the sole gunman who killed the officers. Ultimately, Woods was convicted on 4 capital murder charges. He tried appealing his conviction and argued that he had been given inadequate representation. His appeal was denied by both the Alabama Supreme Court and the Supreme Court of the United States. High-profile individuals from the son of Martin Luther King Jr. to director Ava DuVernay to Kim Kardashian West all tweeted against Woods' execution, but the governor of Alabama released a statement doubling down, saying, "This is not a decision that I take lightly, but I firmly believe in the rule of law and that justice must be served." Joining me now to discuss the complexities of this case as well as the role that the Supreme Court played is criminal law professor Echo Yanka. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So we see convictions and appeals turned down all the time. What makes this case particularly unique?
I think this case was difficult for everybody because there's no question on anybody's mind, the prosecutor or the defense, that Woods was not the person who shot these police officers. There's testimony that he didn't do it. There's confessions, as you pointed out, by the actual shooter that he was not the one to do it. But on top of that, the case was just riven with really problematic evidence. 2 of the witnesses recanted and said they were pressured by the prosecution to do it. There were even rumors of police corruption, that the police were not there just to serve a warrant, but that they were part of unlawful and corrupt bribery. So there was so much doubt in this case that many people thought the finality of the death sentence just had to be forestalled so we could get to the bottom of it.
And I'm really kind of scratching my head. I mean, initially the Supreme Court had decided to stay the execution, then reverse that right away. Why and how unusual is something like this?
It was very strange. The Supreme Court gave a stay that ended up being for a little more than 4 hours. To be sure, the court's stay was on a very technical issue. Woods was not told Woods was given a choice between 2 different ways of dying, essentially, 2 different chemical protocols, one of which the state of Alabama doesn't yet have a full protocol. So had he chosen that one, the state would have had to wait. It would have bought him more time to have his case appealed. So this is part of the overall question of how he was failed at every point by his counsel. It really was the fact that he didn't choose a protocol is why he's no longer here.
But why did they then reverse?
I think on that technical issue, the case was never going to be reversed. Indeed, the more substantive stay that asked the court to look at the substantive issues of lack of effective counsel as well as conflicts of evidence was never reviewed by the court.
And is this really unprecedented, or is this something that the Supreme Court does kind of waffle?
Well, there's a larger fight in which this is embedded, that where the Supreme Court, members of the Supreme Supreme Court, what we might think of as the conservative members of the Supreme Court, are more interested in staying the court's hand, in having fewer, it's a complex set of words, fewer stays, fewer injunctions, fewer interferences with lower courts. Right. And so we see this as part of a larger trend of fights. So I'm not surprised that on this technical issue, the court was not going to reverse his, or was not going to stay his execution.
Nathaniel Woods' family released a statement saying the fight is far from over. Nathaniel is an innocent man, and that will always be the truth. We are not giving up. What else can be done at this point?
Well, you know, it is a stunning case because, of course, he's now, not only are 3 police officers dead, but Nathaniel Woods is no longer with us. But what is really true is that even if his life is over, his story is not over. There are just countless organizations and countless families who fight every year in order to have their loved one's full story come out, in order to be able to proclaim to the world that this person who is executed by the state is ultimately innocent. And we see that sometimes spanning over decades. I think on top of that, of course, their family surely cares that Nathaniel Woods' life was not in the end in vain, that the next person who doesn't get counsel, who tells them what they're facing, what the capital charge might be, that, for example, Alabama remains the only state in the nation where you can be executed without a unanimous vote of a jury, that there's not another Nathaniel Woods who loses their life because they don't have the right legal counsel. And so for that, I'm sure the family will always want to stand.
All right, Mr. Yonka, thank you so much for explaining that to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so Governor Ivory, she says she carefully considered the facts surrounding the case, and so she said that they will continue the execution that day. So the prosecutors didn't say that Wood held or fired a gun during the incident. He didn't do any of that. They alleged that Woods acknowledged that he and Spencer sold drugs, but he didn't fire anything. He went in to get his drugs and things like that. So this situation with this governor that saw all the facts, politicians reaching out to her, celebrities reaching out to her, petitions being signed, and she still wouldn't budge. She still wouldn't give in. And I look at this situation like, thou shalt not kill. And if my thing is practice what we preach. We practice not to kill and take a life, but basically we're promoting it. So a kill for a kill, I guess we shall say. We shall kill. And if we promoting not to take a life, but we're taking life at the same time, what example are we setting here? Okay? I feel like if a person take a life, lock them up. But to take a life, with me, I see we celebrate life. We show affection and we cry during birth and a baby coming, and we're bringing light to earth, and we celebrate life. And it's so backwards because I see people celebrate a person's life being taken. Say, for instance, like Angelo. Say, for instance, like Larry. And these two brothers, they have situations going on in their lives. And you had this Angelo Clary. He was locked up. He wasn't even around, allegedly, when his child was born. When his wife was pregnant with their child. Okay? And he wanted forgiveness. He wanted to get out and try to live a normal life, but at this point I don't see it. But at the same time, then you have Larry. He's celebrating. He said he wished this man get locked up forever, but at the same time, allegedly, he has a indictment of his own. So at the same time, do we want to wish you locked up forever and ever for the crimes that you have committed? Okay? So my thing is, what do we need to do to solve these problems with the people of color not getting this opportunity to have things looked at the way they need to. And the young man on the clip spoke about having someone to speak for you and not giving you all your options, and that's because you can't afford to get your own attorney. And so you have these trash court appointed attorneys that's just giving you bullshit and not giving you all the information and the facts that you need to try to fight for your life. So if he had a decent attorney to his counsels to let him know his options, and if he would have had time to want to say, okay, I want to choose how I'm going to leave this earth, it would have gave him a little more leeway so someone can fight for him. But because he didn't have that, he is gone. Okay, so at this time, what can we do here, you guys? What can we do? How can we change things? And see, this is why it's so important to know who you're putting in this office here. So you got this old ass white woman, probably prejudiced as hell, probably one of those Me Too women, and just don't give a fuck about, excuse my language, about a black man. And so this once again, and I'm going to keep talking about this, like I said, this skinhead said that we don't have to wear the sheets anymore. We don't have to wear the hoodies anymore. We pay, our organization pay to have people to be in the White House, white collar, working in Wall Street, blue collar. We have attorneys, we have prosecuting attorneys, we have judges, we have doctors. So they coming up with money and raising money to put these type of people, in the office, in our jails, in our justice system, in our legal system. They're dealing with our legal system and everything. They dealing with our life, okay? And how do we figure out what we need to do? Because we have the government that's actually running our life and telling us how to run our life, how to have babies, how not to have babies, and different things like that. So we need to start doing some fact checks on what's going on into the House of America and see what are these people running and trying to tell me what to do with my life. Okay? We got people making decisions on your life, if you can live and not live. Okay, yes, we have criminals out there. Yes, we have, people that's on drugs and running amok. But there are ways that we can try to solve these problems. We have millions and billions of dollars that we're using on unnecessary things here in America, that it should go towards something that's going to help these people and help our people. So it's so much I want to say. I just wanted to drop this. So, like I told you guys last night on the live when I brought it up about the situation with Nathaniel Woods. So we want to continue to fight. We want to continue to put information out here like that. We don't want to wait till it's too late. It's hundreds of families that's fighting for their loved one lives. Okay, so my thing, if you know anybody, if you are dealing with this situation, reach out to me so I can help get this information out there. We need to get it out there as soon as possible. We can't wait till the end. You see how mainstream media is talking about it? Okay, it's too late. It's too late. He's dead. We want information before then so we can nip it in the butt and fight hard to try to save lives. There are a lot of innocent people that's locked up. There's a lot of people locked up for crime. They're spending more time for the crime that they commit that they shouldn't be receiving. They receive more of the time for the crime that doesn't make sense to me, you guys. And I don't celebrate anything like this, and you shouldn't either. This is something we need to fight for. We are slowly, like that skinhead said, we're going to be extinct dinosaurs. Let's take away their black men. Let's poison the youth of black men. Let's poison the youth of the black woman. Let her think this is how it's supposed to be. Let her think that this is what she needs to do to live. Let this black man think that this is how it's supposed to go, and this is how he's supposed to be a man. Let's let him think he's supposed to be hard knock. He's supposed to be a drug dealer. He's supposed to be this and that, so he can be that drug dealer out there in the streets, so we can kill his ass by self-defense, claiming self-defense, or letting his ass rot in jail and work for us, and get money from them, and they working hard labor and they're not getting paid, but we are. So, and let these young black women go out here and be freak nasty, and do whatever they need to do to lay up and get babies from all over the place, and not have baby fathers, so these kids won't grow up without a decent father, so they can be menace to society, so we can kill their ass as well. And let's try to poison the people's mind about the black woman, so nobody want to deal with her at all, so then she's not gonna be able to accumulate and make more babies. Let's do that. Okay, it's a lot, so I'm not reading from anything. I like to speak from the heart. I'm sorry, I just can't do notes. I had notes written onto the side, but it is what it is. I like to speak from the heart because this is heartfelt here. So you guys, please drop your comments down below, and once I go live, we're gonna talk on this, and see what it's all about. And so you guys, what I want you guys to do is please like, share, and subscribe, and let's get this message going. If we're gonna fight for it, let's fight for everything that matters in our communities, in our lives. And yes, black lives do matter, you guys. They're in so many different ways. Black lives matter. Let's fight hard for our men of color. Let's fight hard for the women's and our young women's, and help these young women to see the things that they're doing does not make any sense. You don't have to go that route to try to get fame, money, and things like that. Okay. We have another situation. It's crazy. It's very crazy. But we're gonna keep fighting, you guys. We're gonna keep fighting this. We just have so many. I'm trying to think of the other young man that we spoke on as well. They were trying to execute him. Thank God he wasn't executed. Got a chance to try to save him. We still gonna see how that goes, and I want to look into it and see what's going on with him. We got to keep that going too, and keep that out on the front line, because we don't want anybody to forget about him as well. It's just a sad situation. May he rest in peace. I pray for the officers. They didn't deserve their lives to be taken away. I pray for the man that did the crime. Drugs are very dangerous. Drugs will cause you to do a lot. And I'm thinking about the young lady that approached me, and she wanted to have sex with me for drugs, and that did a lot to me. I am going to end this because, like I said, I have a heart. I have compassion. And to still think about the young lady, I'm like, what would she do for these drugs? And so I'm looking at from my lenses, and allegedly you have Angelo Clary. He sold drugs, and this is what causes a lot of damage to people in their lives. So I'm gonna tell you, don't throw stones, brother. Don't throw stones.